So I am in Silhouette Studio and I use the Business Edition. Designer Plus, and Business Edition will give you access to the Rhinestone panel. So what I'm doing is selecting on the font that I want to use, which is called Impact. So I'm going to go ahead and type out the words for this custom order that I'm working on. And once I get each of the words typed out, then I'm going to start resizing, playing around with the sizing and get it to where I want it to be or where it needs to be. And so I'll kind of just move those around a little bit, stretch them out, adjust the sizing, and then from there I'll start working with the rhinestone panel. And because it's two separate words, I'll do each one separately. But once I use that bigger one at the top, the Texas, then I can adjust the bottom word tech to match the size of the bigger one or to be in the right size. So they both look good on the shirt once I make the template. And if you want to play around with different fonts, you can. This is just a pretty simple and basic font that I'm using, or a basic design. So it's not like it'll be multicolors or anything like that. So this will just be a one color rhinestone template that I'm going to make a transfer for this customer. So this is a really simple way to learn the software, how to learn to use the rhinestone panel and kind of play around until you get more familiar with the software. And now I'm just looking at the sizing for each of them and just kind of comparing them just to see, okay, how much bigger should I make one or the other, or if I need to do any other adjustments. So now I'm going over to the rhinestone panel. It will be on your right hand side. Depending on the size of your screen, you may not see it there. So you can go up to the top, click on panels, and go down to rhinestones. And that'll bring up this exact same screen. So then here you have your different rhinestone effects, which you will have none. And then from there you'll have an edge fill. You'll have the linear fill, and then the radial fill. And so those are just how your letters or your image will look once you fill it in. Then we have the different sizes, have the spacing, as well as you can do freehand. And then you also can release the rhinestones, and I will be showing you that because I will be making some adjustments once I convert the images over. So you do have to select your image. So right now it's on none. So then I'm going to click on edge, and that gives you an outline, which looks good. But this customer did want a complete fill, so I'm going to go ahead and click the linear fill. I'm going to try the radial fill. I don't like how the radial fill looks. The radial fill is more for a lot of curves, like shapes or like circles or things like that, or if you're working with bubble letters. So that's more of the radial fill. So then I'm going to go ahead and use that linear fill. And I'm actually going to have to release the rhinestones because I do want to make a few adjustments to these letters. And so same thing, I'm gonna click, that's how the edge would look for tech, and then that's the linear fill. And this software will automatically default to SS10. So if you forget to click on one of the rhinestone sizes, it's going to automatically default to SS10, which is nice. So here you can see I'm clicking release the rhinestones, and it'll take a few seconds because it does have to release each stone, and each stone becomes its own individual box. So you can remove, or if you need to move over a stone, or if you need to duplicate and add a stone. In this case, I'm deleting some stones just to clean up this image a little bit. I mean, it turned out really good just for the first shot, but I'm just gonna clean it up, make it look a little bit neater, a little bit more finished. And that way, when I go to brush the rhinestones on the template and press the image, it'll just give a really clean finish with the rhinestones. And so I'm just clicking on each individual box and hitting delete, just because I just wanted to clean a couple of these letters up. And then I'm going to do the same with Texas at the top as well. And so here I'm going to take a row away from where the T and the E are kind of almost touching. So I'm going to clean that up as well and delete one row, one line of rhinestones on that E so I can clean that up. And sometimes you may need to add stones, sometimes you may need to move them around. It really just depends on the image that you're working with and the look that you want your image to have, the finished look. And so here I'm doing the same thing with the C, just cleaning this up a little bit. And so depending on the complexity of your image or how difficult it may be, there may be a lot more to it that you will need to do. It really just depends. Something like this is very simple, very basic, so this isn't going to take long at all. But some images, some orders I get can be a little bit more complex, so you kind of have to take a little bit more time. So doing rhinestones can be time consuming at times, and other times you just can get right through them. So here I just selected the entire word and I clicked group. So this will take it back to where all the stones are as one, how it looked, or the image is one, and it's no longer separated by each individual stone. So now I'm going to release the rhinestones on Texas and do the same thing. Do a little bit of cleanup on this image. Make the words look a little bit better, or the letters look a little bit better. But like I was saying, depending on how complex your image is, it can take longer. You may have to add additional stones. You may have to remove stones. You may have to resize your letters, or go back and adjust your spacing. So the more you work with the software, the more you'll get familiar, and then however you want your finished look is what you'll know you will need to do, or what adjustments you will need to make. And so I cleaned up that E, and here I'm just showing you how you could click on one of the boxes and do duplicate, and that'll give you an extra stone, or one of the holes that'll be cut out, and you can move that around wherever you need to. So then I just went ahead and deleted that because I didn't need it. I just wanted you guys to see. All you have to do is click on a box once you've released the rhinestones, and then you can duplicate and you can add as many additional holes or spaces for the rhinestones as you need to. And so now I'm just cleaning up this X because it was actually overlapping with the E. And that's one thing at the bottom of that E there. Those two are overlapping, and you don't want that to happen, because if any of your holes overlap, it will leave a huge space there. It'll be like a double circle almost, space. And so you'll want to make sure that you don't have any overlapping holes. Otherwise, your template will be off and your stones won't fall correctly into the holes and your placement will be off. So just make sure you don't have any holes overlapping. If you need to, you can adjust your spacing off to the right-hand side in the panel there. And I'll actually show that, and I'll go through these different effects and everything in the panel in a different video. I just wanted to give a quick overview of how to take some words and convert them from regular letters to rhinestones so you can go ahead and make a template. And so now I'm just cleaning up this A just a little bit, and then I'm going to also delete a few of the holes from the S as well. In here, I started to delete some more holes from the X, but I didn't like how it was looking. So I'm actually going to just click on the, what is it called? The undo button at the top, and then it's going to automatically put those holes back. Now, I could have just duplicated and just put the holes back myself, but this way they're going to go back to exactly where they were before, and I don't have to move anything around. So I'm going to keep hitting undo until I get back to the first stone that I deleted. So I got that back now. I'm just taking a look at the image. So then I'm going to clean up the A a little bit more. And then I'll do the same with the S. I will do another video on an actual image or a picture showing how you can upload that and turn that as well into a rhinestone template or image. I'll be doing that in a later video. Now, if you would prefer for me to do like a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live where I can go through converting some images, doing some words, going more in detail in the rhinestone panel, just let me know in the comments and I can get that scheduled where I can go live and kind of answer questions as I'm going. So here I'm selecting this entire word, and then I'm going to do a right click and select group. And so this will regroup the stones. And depending on how many stones, it can take a while. So this didn't take too long. So I have those two kind of cleaned up how I want them to. So now I'm just gonna work on the sizing a little bit. I'm gonna adjust both Texas and Tech before I go ahead and send it to cut. And I just want to make sure that I have everything centered, because even though it's two separate words, it will cut on your flock template material just as you see it in here. So you don't have to fully group both words together. They can be two separate words or however many different separate words. They'll cut exactly how you have them placed on your cutting mat here. and you can adjust. So this isn't messing with the holes. It won't mess with the sizing, or well, I'm changing the sizing, but it won't mess with the rhinestone holes that'll be cut out. So they'll still be cut out as SS10 size or 3mm size holes for the stones. So even though I'm adjusting it and making it a little bit bigger, you'll still use SS10 rhinestones. And if you're ever unsure, then you can always look at the bottom off to the right in the panel where it says totals all shapes, and it'll give you the total stones that this image will take. So for like this particular image, there's going to be 1,226 rhinestones that I'm going to have to use. That's how many holes my machine is going to cut out once I send this to cut. So I'm just double checking here, making sure that everything looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and click send. And I do have a custom rhinestone setting that I created within this software. So you can create your own templates or whatever they're called, they're cuts. So you can get your own material type basically set up in there. So when I click on it, it's actually going to be, I have my blade depth at 6. I have my force at 22. I have my speed at 10. And I have my passes at 2. And that is the exact same settings. I always use that rhinestone template material, and it's just labeled number 1. So that's the one I created that I resized. There is a preset one in here when you initially have access to the rhinestone panel, but I wanted to adjust my settings so it cut through really good. And then it'll automatically go to cut. It'll detect your auto blade, so you don't have to click on anything additional, especially once you have your own material setting set. Then you don't have to worry about changing it every time. So then I'm gonna go ahead and click send, and then it's gonna let you know that it's gonna basically cut the edge, but it's going to cut the edge of each of the individual holes in the template. So I hope this was helpful, at least for the beginners that wanted to see a template being created. So here's the final result after I peeled it up off the mat and put it onto the backing paper. Thanks for watching.